What's going on, you guys? Welcome to Team Epidemic. This is Taylor here. I was going to showcase my Draco deck. Right now I feel like the format is a little flat. It's kind of getting stale. It's the same decks over and over, and I know Dracos have lingered, and it's had its prime, and it's still going as an anti-meta deck, and it's just kind of fun to play, and especially to outsource other meta decks. This deck profile, I would say, it is semi-competitive. It's decent for a regional level and such. But overall, it's a fantastic deck, and we'll get into it. It's fairly budget-friendly, this deck, but I did actually bling it out, so this variant is not the cheapest. We run the one Dynamite. I run 2 Majesties and 3 Ignis, and that's all the Draco monsters I run. I'm not going to really go over the card text too much because everyone by now knows what Dracos do. I do go full out with the Inspector Borders. I run 3 Inspector Borders. It's just too good not to play because you're not really relying on your Draco effects too much, your monster effects. 3 Diagram, pretty standard. 2 Terraforming, standard. I run 3 Heritage. It's great. The additional Tribute Summon's what comes in handy for this deck, just being able to Tribute Summon more than once. And also, the draw off Heritage isn't bad. Disciples, we also have it at 3, mainly for the additional Tribute Summon. And the Shuffle 3 back. It never hurts to have a card in your deck that allows you to recycle resources. That's it for the Draco spells. That's all the Draco spells, so 3 card Demise, 2 Pot of Duality. I've seen some people run Pot of Duality at 3. I do not like it. I feel 2 is very adequate. I hate seeing Pot of Duality off Duality. And I also don't run Desires. I'm not a big Desires fan at all. In certain decks, it's okay when you have like a 1-card combo. But I feel like Dracos puts too many resources out, and you've got to play so many Floodgates. I personally don't like it. I know a lot of people run and have good luck with it. I just don't. For the traps, I actually only run 2 Apocalypse with the Recurrence, with Disciples. 2 works for me, be able to search it off Dynamite if I can. And plus all the draw cards. 2 works. 3's not bad, but 2 definitely works in this deck. And I actually don't run Return. I feel it's the lesser of the traps, and a lot of times it's just been a dead card when I draw it. And I run 3 Summon Limit, and then also 3 there can only be 1. Summon Limit's great. You're not going to summon more than twice. A lot of decks nowadays, they'll summon more and more and more. So Summon Limit hurts a lot of decks, but also there can only be 1. It will hinder you sometimes, but more often than not, if you have Inspector Border and 1 Draco out, you're good to go. Or if you just have 1 Draco and there can only be 1, there's more than likely a chance that your 1 Draco is going to be enough, especially if it's being protected off Diagram, where it can't be destroyed the first time by battle. I don't run a extra deck in this, so I do run 2 Monarchs Erupt. I was running it at 3. There was some times where all I left was Floodgates and an Inspector Border on the board, so like Monarchs Erupt really wasn't good, and also I couldn't even activate it because I didn't have a Tribute Summon monster. I do run 2 Iron Walls, and I'm on the fence about this because this is a card that I'm having trouble keeping at 2. I actually feel it needs to be at 3 in this deck. Evenly Match is the worst matchup for this deck. Any deck that mains or sides Evenly Match, it's horrible for this deck for the simple fact Dracos have to go all out. You can't just put up a monster in 1 back row with this deck. You really need to go all out to set up a good, secure board. And in that case, Evenly Match really hurts this deck. So I do run 2 Iron Walls. I've thought about Dark Bribes and stuff, but Iron Walls also hurt other decks like the Orcus stuff. So it does have its place. We main deck 2 Impermanents. In this build, you can't really run hand traps because card demise. And I know you could side them out and add hand traps. But for that reason, I do run the 2 Impermanents. I do have the 3rd one in my side deck, but 2's been doing really well in the main deck for me. And to round up the 40 card deck, we do run the 1 Skill Drain. And like I was trying to choose whether to run 3 Marksrupt or 2 Marksrupt and a skill drain, and obviously I went with having the 1 skill drain in there because it's fantastic for the simple fact I don't have to have Tribute Summon Monster. But that's it for the main deck. I do play two Draco. I like this card a lot, especially for like if you are going against Sky Strikers or Ultrageist, something like that. This card's fantastic, but you do got to watch out and really know how to play this card in your Draco deck, because if you just throw it in, a lot of new people to Dracos or people that's not used to playing with this card on the field are going to have trouble playing their Draco deck, because this card actually hinders Dracos in a way by itself. But if you know how to utilize your Draco cards and play them correctly, she won't hurt you as bad as she'll hurt your opponent. 2 Printer Tops, I mean, all around it's a good staple. And if I remember correctly, this will be coming out in the new Battle Legends, which I'm assuming this will become a super rare. I could be wrong on that, but if so, I'd definitely pick them up in a higher rarity, because they deserve a much higher rarity than common. Like, honestly, this card could be an ultra rare because of how good it is. I do run the 1 Metaltron. Just a good boss monster to have if I'm having trouble swinging over a monster or something, or if I play a spell heavy deck like Sky Strikers or a trap heavy deck like Ultrageist. I can just do it to get his immunity like Masterpiece had. He's really good, he's fantastic. It just sucks that he takes 3 tributes, which this deck doesn't have trouble getting out. And I'm sorry to do this, but I do run 1 Mystic Mod in my side deck. At 1, I think it works great because I can terraform for it. And a lot of people I've seen linger on hitting terraforms and wait for their opponent to get a card and just ash that card. Which with Dracos, that's never a good thing to do. You might as well just go ahead and ash the terraforming. So this way that diagram's not on the field for next turn and getting the attack boost and everything. But Mystic Mine, I run it at 1. There's been a few games that I've actually seen it, got it out, side decked it, got it out, and it worked fantastic. Allowed me to stall enough to get what I needed on board to win the game. I run 3 Twin Twister. I ain't saying it's a very heavy back row format, but there is a lot of problem cards in the back row for this deck, so we run the 3 Twin Twister. I run 3 Anti-Spell. This is a card you could probably take out. I don't like going against any Pendulum deck at all, but also this hurts Sky Strikers to an extent. It just puts them 1 play behind, and if you can catch your opponent and make them get them off guard and make them 1 play behind, you do have the advantage. I run 2 Crackdown to help out with Metaltron. Crackdown's fantastic, being able to take your opponent's monster and then just tribute it away with for 1 of your Dracos. And then lastly, the 3rd Impermanence. But that's basically it for this deck. If you guys would like, I'll be more than gladly to get you replays for this deck. I do not care 1 bit to. Just make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And just comment down below that you want to see replays and I'll get them out to you. Or if you want to see some tutorials with things about it. But the deck's pretty basic and everyone knows how it runs. But that's basically it for the video.